Reported headline earnings per share up from a loss of 246 cents, that to a profit of 186 cents per share. So we've got CEO Henry Lars and Chris Hart from Investment Solutions joining us at the desk to look at the numbers. Thanks for joining us today, gentlemen. Henry, I'll start off with you. I mean, you made quite a few disposals. The group has been going through this process for some time now, 2 years in fact, in terms of the restructuring. Talk to us about what you let go of, what you sold, 2.2 billion rand, I think, during the year.
Yes, what we decided to do is to focus on our core competencies of engineering and construction, and businesses that do not fit that definition, we decided to dispose of those. So it is primarily businesses in the manufacturing section and that we refer to as businesses in our construction products operating platform. So those businesses have been disposed of. Part of the cash has been received in the financial year up to financial year up to June 2013 has been accounted for, but there's still about 1.3 billion that will flow in the 2014 financial year.
So you're managing to get some cash onto the balance sheet through this now. Let's talk about the various divisions. If you look at construction, we saw a loss there of 28 million rand for the period, but we have seen an improvement in margins to around nothing, 0%, but that coming from negative 16% is something to celebrate right now. So what is the prospect for turnaround in the construction space?
We're of the view that our construction business in South Africa at best will earn a margin between 1% and 3%. The market is still extremely competitive. The opportunities are starting to come through, but very, very slowly. And we don't think that we will easily report a margin of greater than 3% for that business.
For how long?
Well, we've been in losses for the past couple of years, and we had a small loss for the period up to June, and we don't see that there will be a significant improvement in the short to medium term. So maybe 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, where are the best prospects at the moment that you're finding at the moment?
For the business as a whole?
The business as a whole.
It is primarily in the international space.
Where specifically?
The way we've structured the business, we've got 2 operating platforms that focus on the continent of Africa, and then one on the mining business and one on the oil and gas space. So the opportunity for us for now, in the immediate short term, it's primarily in Australia, the oil and gas business, or the investment that we have in Clough.
So you're recommending, of course, a complete buyout, essentially, of Clough, and they really have speciality experience in oil and gas. They've been making their own acquisitions. So what are the prospects in terms of what are the developments in the Australian oil and gas sector right now, and why does Clough make sense to shareholders when it comes to this acquisition?
Clough is an international oil and gas company. It has benefited greatly from the opportunity in Australia and Australasia over the past couple of years. And we think that the capital spent on greenfields projects will start to taper off in about 2 to 3 years' time. But all the new LNG plants that have been built over the past couple of years are presenting a great opportunity for Clough in terms of asset support and maintenance work into the future. However, the acquisition from a strategic point of view also makes sense to Murray & Roberts, because we believe that the gas finds along the coastlines of Africa is presenting a significant opportunity. It's about 8 to 10 years out, and I think we will benefit greatly from that.
What I would be interested in terms of the long-term business plan, if South Africa is, from what I would understand, is representing a shrinking opportunity as opposed to externally, what is the kind of business mix that you're looking at, say, going forward in terms of that?
Yeah, we see that our international businesses in time to come will contribute at least 75% to our EBIT.
Right.
So that is.
What was the contribution right now?
It's actually more. So if we get to a point that the South African businesses recover and do a little bit better, their relative contribution will improve. But having said that, we don't think that it would ever be more than 25% of the group EBIT as a whole. So the international businesses are presenting the opportunity for us. It's not that we took a decision to neglect the opportunity in South Africa.
Right.
It is just that the international space is presenting more attractive opportunities for us in the medium to long term.
The infrastructure build program that's meant to be in South Africa, is that something that is still seen as an opportunity, or is this something that's on the back burner for you?
No, we do see it as an opportunity. I think the difficulty that we have, it's very difficult to predict when it will come to market.
Right.
So that is, I think, the bit of frustration that we are experiencing in the business. I think that the South African, or the infrastructure in and around South Africa requires significant investment.
Right.
And that investment must come, and we will be ready for that opportunity. But we don't see it really happening in a big way. in the next 12 months or 18 months.
When it comes to construction, big construction projects in South Africa, is there overcapacity when it comes to the suppliers of it, like yourself, in South Africa right now?
I think there's still a lot of capacity within the construction companies that are idle at this stage. And if I say idle, I don't mean that there's a lot of cost hanging around within these companies.
Yeah.
But we can deliver much more than what we are currently doing. And an example of that was the period leading up to the 2010 FIFA World Cup. All the activity that was then taking place in South Africa, and it was managed by the construction companies that we have today in this country.
So you have the ability to upscale, essentially.
Yes.
But what about in the environment right now? If we're not looking at improvement for the medium to longer term, is it going to be a period of consolidation? Would you specifically look at a smaller company?
Well, what we have done, we have aligned our capacity to the opportunity as we see it in the market now. We are not carrying a lot of spare capacity in the business, but we can, from the core that we have, we can grow on that, and we can build on that quite easily. So it is not that we find ourselves in a position that we're going to go through massive retrenchments and downsizing.
But are you looking at a smaller company, essentially, with smaller bolt-ons in a depressed environment to take advantage of that?
Not necessarily. I don't think that the opportunity will really come for us from that point of view. I think when you look at smaller companies as a bolt-on, there's risk that comes with that as well. Although I do think that in time to come, there might be some consolidation in the local construction market. I think it's a logical thing to do, but we don't have a target in mind at this moment to say that we're looking at smaller bolt-on opportunities. I think if we were to make acquisitions, short to medium term, we think that it would be more appropriate for us to do it in the international space, and we believe there we have opportunity for better return to our shareholders.
Thank you for joining us today. Appreciate your time. That's Marion Roberts, CEO, Henry Lars. Well, of course, Chris is still with me at the desk. Chris, let's talk about the construction sector as an investment story right now. Your thoughts on it?
Well, I think the interview we've just had is something that does concern me, in the sense that we've got to be careful that the internal critical mass and robustness of the local construction firm or industry is not diluted, in downturns, that we don't have a situation where the bulk of the allocation of capital and focus is in fact externalized rather than actually internalized. There's still a lot of work to do in South Africa in terms of unlock growth, and this is where we need to actually probably come to a better arrangement. The Competition Commission, I don't think, was that helpful to the sector. And that needed, in the sense that it has left the sector a little bit depleted, at least from a local point of view. And that would be, that's something that, as I say, are we shooting ourselves in the foot? Can we find another better way to actually get compliance with the Competition Act?